Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and it is time for me to give my night 2 preview, recap, I should say, of WrestleMania 40, the night 2, and what a night. I'll get into the main event later. I will get into that later because I might be a little bit long-winded about that one, but I'm going to get in order of the matches that were actually happened. And we're going to jump right into Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, coming into this match, Seth Rollins, we already know what he did night 1, and it was almost, to me, kind of inevitable that Drew McIntyre was going to overtake Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, mainly because of some of the injuries that Seth Rollins has been dealing with over the last few weeks and probably over the last couple of months. He's been dealing with injuries, and I think this is the perfect time and perfect moment for Drew McIntyre to overtake Seth Rollins for that World Heavyweight Championship, and the added bonus of having Chicago's very own CM Punk at ringside for the commentation of this match. And it started off with a blast Claymore kick right at the very beginning of the match. It was a very solid match. Now, I think if this was a healthier Seth Rollins, it probably would have been a better showing between the two. And we all know we've seen this match before, but it wasn't at the biggest stage. And then Drew McIntyre finally gets his moment, and that concludes, wait, not so fast. I had a feeling that Damian Priest was going to end up cashing in the Money in the Bank of WrestleMania. It just set itself up so perfectly with the Judgment Day. It looks like they're going to be down with him dropping the tag team titles earlier last night in that 6-pack ladder match challenge. And it just set itself up so perfectly for Drew McIntyre to get cashed in on by Damian Priest. And now, both I'm not going to say heavyweight, both world titles on Raw belong to the Judgment Day, with Rhea Ripley on the women's side, and also Damian Priest on the men's side. Both world titles are in the hands of the Judgment Day. It was inevitable. Inevitable, in my opinion. This was the time for Damian Priest to cash in. Because if it lasted past WrestleMania, it wouldn't have hit the same way. It would not have been the same feel if this Senior Money in the Bank lasted past WrestleMania. It was time. It was time for that to happen. It had to happen. It had to. Am I a fan of Damian Priest? I like watching Damian Priest, yes. The whole Judgment Day thing, yes. Even though they're heel, you gotta appreciate the heels for who they are. And it's interesting to see how this title reign is going to go, with Damian Priest being now the World Heavyweight Champion. It's interesting to see how this is going to go. But at the end of the day, we have a new World Heavyweight Champion twice over. And it's interesting to see how they're going to play this Drew McIntyre thing out. But overall, it was a very solid match. Like I said, if Seth Rollins was maybe a little bit healthier, probably would have been a better for the story of it. But next, we have Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, the Street Profits, defeating the Final Testament in a Philadelphia street fight with Bubba Ray Dudley as a special guest referee and Snoop Dogg on commentary. I'll just say that Snoop Dogg on commentary is absolutely hilarious. He was hilarious on commentary, but as far as the match itself, I'm not going to lie, kind of disappointing. We seen the botch with the table with the Karrion Kross setup. It just wasn't that type of physicality that we kind of expected. And we all know it was a bit of a mid-card short thing match, but it wasn't, I didn't think it was as hard-hitting. It did tell a little bit of a story. We had the B-Fab, and I don't know why I can never think of this, Karrion Kross's wife's name. I can never remember it. I don't know why. But at the end of the day, they had those go through a table. We had the story of Karrion Kross getting taken over and the whole Bubba Ray with the 3D glasses on, and overall, solid match. I'm not going to say it was the best of showings, but just having Snoop commentary, listening to Snoop is absolutely hilarious. And the nostalgia of being in Philly and Philadelphia Street Fight, the ECW, the whole weekend, and the Paul Heyman, and having Bubba Ray as the special guest referee, I think was a very good thing for the WWE to do. But this match, I'm not going to lie, with some botches, and it kind of underwhelmed a little bit for me. So, that's that. But next is LA Knight versus AJ Styles. And LA Knight finally gets his WrestleMania moment. AJ Styles being a two-time WWE champion. That was a really good match. It was a really good match with those two having a long-standing rivalry. LA Knight, I think LA Knight has star written on him. AJ Styles, it looks like AJ Styles is still in phenomenal shape. Well, almost pun intended. But overall, solid match between those two. I didn't expect it to be like one of those big storytelling matches, but at the end of the day, it was still a very solid match for what it was. Very solid match. LA Knight coming out on top, which I think was kind of predictable. LA Knight gets his WrestleMania moment with all the hype behind him, and good match. I'll give that a 7 out of 10. I didn't give the rating for the Drew McIntyre. I will also give that a 7 out of 10. The Street Fight, I would give that probably like a 5 out of 10. Okay, my bad. Camera kind of died on me in the middle of recording, but at the end of the day, it's time to get on to the Logan Paul versus the Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Now, I'm going into this match, I was kind of hoping that Kevin Owens won this match because, number one, he got that whole Sami Zayn best friend thing, and Sami finished the Intercontinental Championship match in night one, and it would have been nice to see both of those guys walk out with championship gold yet again. But overall, this was a good match. I'll be honest with you guys, I probably said it in my night review, but I'm not a fan of Logan Paul, even though I will give credit where credit is due. He's a very good performer. He's very good at what he does, but I'm just not the biggest fan of Logan Paul. But I will give the credit. The man puts on very good matches. We've seen the brass knuckles go into effect. We've seen not KSI. I was thinking that was probably KSI, but I Show Speed ended up coming out. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I know who Speed is. I know who he is, but I don't watch his content, to be honest with you. Don't watch his content, but I know who he is. But it was crazy that he was the one in that prime suit, and Randy Orton and him RKO'ing him at the announce table, which I thought was pretty cool, pretty funny to see. But the brass knuckles were brought into it again when he hit both Randy and Kevin with him, and it kicked out. But at the end of the day, took advantage, hit his frog splash, and ended up winning the match. And it's interesting to see how they're going to take this Logan Paul story going forward. I'm interested to see how that's going to go, because I actually thought at WrestleMania, I actually thought Logan was going to drop it. I thought Logan was going to drop it to Kevin or Randy. And we know Randy gets a lot of title opportunities throughout the course of his career, rightfully so. And I thought they probably would have put the belt on Randy. But Logan Paul ends up getting the win in this matchup, and I'm not even too mad at it, despite me not being a big fan of Logan Paul. But Logan Paul, at the end of the day, comes out with the victory. And I will give this match a solid 7. Very entertaining match. It was a little bit unpredictable because, like I said, I didn't think Logan was going to win it. I didn't know who was in the prime suit either, but solid match. It was good to see that they made it unpredictable with Logan winning, so I'll give it a 7. But next, we're going to have Bayley versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's title, and the best result happened, and that is Bayley winning the title. Now, in my preview video, like I said in there, Io Sky's reign as WWE Women's Champion, to me, was a bit, I'm not going to say disappointment, but to me, it didn't hit. It did not hit with me. I'm not going to lie to you. Even though Io Sky showed that she's a very good quality performer and wrestler, in this matchup, it just did not hit with me. And I was hoping that Bayley ended up getting her revenge against Damage Control, the group that she created, the group that she started, that turned their back on her. And I am very, very happy that Bayley ended up getting to finish that. Very good match, very good showing by both women. And Bayley has always been one that puts on high quality matches. Even with Io Sky now, she's put on high quality matches with the new Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. She's put on high quality matches with Charlotte. She's put on high quality matches throughout the course of her career. And she finally gets her WrestleMania moment, getting to raise gold. And I am very happy for Bayley that she's able to get that moment for raising gold and getting her revenge against Damage Control and getting her revenge against Io Sky. And it's interesting to see how they're going to get this title reign booked for Bayley. But nonetheless, I will rate that match. That was an 8. An 8 close to a 9. Very, very good quality match by both women. And I like the way that they told the story of the match with the physicality of the match. And Io Sky, like I said, she proved herself in this match. It just wouldn't have made sense if Bayley did all that. They did all that to Bayley in order for Io Sky to keep the belt. And Io Sky's reign just hasn't been that impressive. With already Damage Control losing to Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi a night earlier, Damage Control could be falling maybe? Who knows? But at the end of the day, I will give this match an 8, close to 8.5. Very good performance, very good match. But now to the match that everybody wanted to see. Now to the match that headlined the show yet again for the second straight year. This time with Bloodline rules, and that's Cody Rhodes versus Seth. I keep saying Seth. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns with the Bloodline rules for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. And what a match it was. What a story that was told in this match. What a match. You had Roman getting hit with everything and kicking out. You get Cody. You had Solo Sikoa interfere, which we all knew was coming. Jimmy Uso interfered, which we all knew was coming. The Rock came in, which we all knew was coming. But the John Cena one, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of expecting that. And The Undertaker. It was crazy that I was watching this from my brother, and I was just like, it would be funny if The Undertaker comes out. Probably less than 2 minutes later, you hear the dome. But at the end of the day, I am thoroughly impressed by the way that WWE had this match. You had so much physicality between Cody and Roman, and you had them fight it out for a very long time before everybody else jumped in the match, which I actually liked because of the fact of you didn't have everything happen early on in the match. You let those two just basically duke it out for the majority of the match, which was another great showing by both men. We all know what Roman has been doing throughout the course of his career. We all know what Cody has been doing since he's came back to the WWE from AEW. And at the end of the day, I was glued to my seat, glued to the TV for this match, and it did not disappoint yet again at all. It just did not disappoint. And the thing about this match, that it was one thing about this match that would have just made it a 20 out of 10. And that would have been, what if Stone Cold came out? in addition to everybody else. What if Stone Cold came out? Because we know his history with The Rock. We know The Undertaker's history with Roman and The Rock. We know Cena's history with The Rock. What if Stone Cold would have came out? I think that would have been the icing on the cake. That would have been the cherry on top of the cake. If Stone Cold comes out, along with everybody else, that would have been the cherry on top that just made everything just the chef's kiss, you can say. But I will say this again. I said it in my preview. I have been a Roman Reigns fan for as long as I can remember with him in the WWE. Even when everybody was booing him, when he was the baby face, I was still a fan of Roman Reigns even then. So it's not like I just hate Roman and I want him to just lose and lose. No. My thing was with the title reign being so long and Roman holding the belt for so long, this had to have been the moment to end it. Because you tell so much of a story of Cody Rhodes finishing his own story. Then on top of that, you have Bloodline rules, which adds another element to heighten Cody finishing the story with overcoming all of these odds that are stacked against him, with it being Bloodline rules versus the Bloodlines being excluded. And they painted so much of a great picture that Cody had no shot to win it. And then he won it. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of this match. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And this was probably one of the best main event WrestleMania matches probably ever. That goes right up there with WrestleMania 17 with The Rock and Stone Cold. It goes right up there with that. I think that and Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, I think this main event goes right up there with that. With the story that it told, with the overcoming of so many odds for Cody Rhodes. Then you add the element of his father. You add the element of Goldust, his older brother, not being able to hold WWE Championship gold. To overcome the Bloodline, the Anoa'i family dynasty, that is just so much of a selling point in itself for this entire match. Then you add the elements of the Bloodline. You add Jimmy and Jey Uso. You add Solo Sikoa. You add The Rock. You add John Cena. You add The Undertaker. It just would, and you add Seth Rollins as well. I almost forget. You add Seth Rollins as well, which I think the main event, the World Heavyweight Championship match took place early so they can have Seth Rollins maybe a little bit fresher to get involved in that. And then him coming out to the Shield music. And that was, I'm not going to lie, even though we know he's in AEW, I'm just like, could that be Moxley too? Or Dean Ambrose when he was in WWE? But that was a surprise in itself when the Shield music hit. That, I did not expect that. But Seth Rollins basically didn't have much of an effect. We all know with the injury and the bad knee that he's in the back and all that stuff that he's dealing with. But that's why I personally thought they made that World Heavyweight Championship match first so he can get that out of the way. Get some recovery time between then and the main event, because I knew he was going to be involved at some point too. So at the end of the day, he made his presence somewhat felt with the Shield music, and that was a whole distraction in his own right because of the fact of that and the history that he has with Roman in the elements of the Shield. So this match just lived up to every bit of it as far as the storytelling goes and as far as Cody Rhodes finishing the story goes. This is perfect. And like I said, the Stone Cold element, if they would have added that in there, that would have made it a 20 out of 10. So overall, WrestleMania Night 2, I think some of the other matches are a little bit underwhelming, to be honest. I think, to me, Night 1 was personally the better night. as far as the overall match card goes, I think night 1 is just like right here, and then night 2 is right here. But the main events, what better main events with both nights? What better main events? I personally love this WrestleMania, and I probably might be doing more of these wrestling type of videos on this channel, and probably getting back into some of my wrestling love. And if you guys want to see me do weekly recaps of Raw and Smackdown, I don't think I'm going to be doing separate videos of both with on top of the football videos. I think it may be just a little bit too much to handle for me at this point right now with other things that I got going on as far as my life goes. But I think I might be doing weekly reviews of both shows and also doing the PLE reviews and thoughts on that. But if you guys want to see them, leave your thoughts in the comments down below about WrestleMania. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bears episode is coming. Peace.